Hello and welcome to the matchday vlog. It's Watford versus Southampton in the fourth round of the Emirates FA Cup. Talking of the FA Cup, the draw for the fifth round will be taking place around about 2, half 2, roughly that, which is when Watford will have already kicked off. 2 p.m. kickoff against the Saints, an all-championship clash in the fourth round, and it's ironic really because we've played Southampton in the FA Cup before under Happy Grazia. They knocked us out at St Mary's with a 1-0 win for Southampton, but we're at home this time, and this time Watford are finally into the fourth round. The last time we were in the fourth round, you'll of course remember, was the season we got to the final with Javi Grazia. We beat Newcastle in the fourth round by 2-0. Isaac Success got a goal, and did Andre Gray. What a throwback that is. But talking of strikers, Emmanuel Dennis is back, and it's a big one. There's a lot of split opinion on this from Watford fans, and understandably so, because the reality of it is that season in 2021 to 22 was one of the worst Watford sides for a long time. And the first half of that season, Emmanuel Dennis was absolutely electric. It was a gamble. We knew that as soon as we signed him, with his previous, history at his clubs, Club Bruges. He had a little stint, I think, at Cologne as well. And so we knew that the player was going to be a gamble because he had previous accusations of, attitude problems. There was a game in the Champions League against Borussia Dortmund for Club Bruges where he reportedly, didn't get to sit in a seat he always likes to on the coach, and he basically put up a fuss about it and escalated to the point where he didn't start the game against Borussia Dortmund, and that is concerning. But Watford took the gamble and it paid off. He scored on his debut in the Premier League at home to Aston Villa, got an assist as well for Ismaila Sarr's goal, and from that first kind of part of the season didn't look back. He was our absolute talisman that season, got so many goals, and it was going so well. Scored that goal against Norwich with the backflip, the Norwich fan in the background with the, unfortunate for him, putting himself on the headlines in the wrong way. But it was funny for us Watford fans. And then you also had, all the goals he scored, Manchester United, Everton, incredible wins for Watford that season in the first half of the season under Xisco Munoz. Then Munoz gets sacked and you think, okay, how's this going to pan out? And really, Ranieri, didn't do too well there, but the form kept on going with Emmanuel Dennis despite that. And it got to around kind of halfway through the season, you think, okay, what's going to happen here? And it broke up for Christmas. AFCON happened. Watford would not let Emmanuel Dennis leave, and understandably so, because Nigeria, their administration team, had a bit of a blunder in their application to get Emmanuel Dennis for AFCON. So he stayed, and his form just kind of dropped off a little bit at the latter stage of that season. He got a couple of goals, very unfrequently, not as frequent as previously in that season. He got a goal, I think, against Brentford at home quite near the end of the season. But generally, it wasn't the most ideal of results at that stage of the season. And I think he scored in a game against Burnley, possibly at home towards the end. But again, as I said, it wasn't the player that we thought he was at the start of the season. And so it was a gamble that paid off. But what happened was Watford got relegated, as we much expected. He then, as a player of the quality he is, with 10 goals, 6 assists in the Premier League, understandably wanted to leave in that championship season. However, the concerns were that when Emmanuel Dennis did depart for 20 million, went to Nottingham Forest, there were reportedly celebrations in the dressing room about when Emmanuel Dennis left. And that is a problem because he, has these reports of he's a fantastic player on the pitch. If he can be managed properly, then he can really do well. But also, there was maybe an attitude issue there. And, when Ranieri was there in that Premier League season, when Hodgson was there, maybe they weren't the right men to manage Emmanuel Dennis as a personality. And at the start of the championship season, when we did have Dennis for the first game against Sheffield United, he was involved in the kind of combining the special three of Pedro, Dennis and Sarr. And it all looked kind of rosy. And then we thought, well, we're going to lose one of the three. And Dennis was the one. We kept Pedro, we kept Sarr. And Dennis, didn't do well at Nottingham Forest. Ultimately, Steve Cooper didn't clearly rate him, and he didn't want him in his plans. He got a couple of goals against Aston Villa and Newcastle, but outside of that, his career at Nottingham Forest really didn't go well. I think they spent more money on that kind of promo video of Dennis signing for Forest than probably Watford would have, wanted to spend in the first place buying Dennis. So basically, it didn't work out, and Dennis then leaves Nottingham Forest, goes to Istanbul, Besiktasahir, goes to Turkey, and barely played any games, whether that was out of favour, fitness. He only played about 8 matches, and so it just didn't work for him, and he didn't settle. And so going into the start of this season, he requests to go back to Watford, and Valérien Ismaël, he came in, Valérien, really in a situation where Watford were in tatters. At the end of that 2022-23 season, Chris Wilder, didn't seem to be interested. There was a lot of problems in the dressing room, not a good season, underwhelming, not getting into the playoff race. And so you thought, well, this is not an environment that Emmanuel Dennis should be brought back into after all the problems in the Premier League in terms of his attitude. Despite his goals, Valérien was probably thinking, now is not the time. I need some building up harmony. I need some team spirit and some attitude and, mentality to be built. And now Valérien has either thought, okay, now is the right time. I've built up a team environment that is, something which laid a foundation. It's a good environment for Dennis to come into. And also, I'm not afraid. Now I've built up my authority against these players to, if I think it's necessary, discipline them. And that's what happened with Imran Louza. He's gone now to on loan Lorient, and that was obviously, likely to come. His attitude wasn't good enough this season, and he missed team meetings. And so what has to be done is everyone pulling in the same direction. We've built a really good togetherness. We've got an identity back as a club, which we hadn't had for a long time now. And so I'm just pleased that, Valérien has done that. I just hope that this signing doesn't take away from that and we start going backwards. But I'm confident that if Val approves it, then I trust what he's doing, and I trust that he's got the authority, if he needs to put Dennis on the bench, or penalise him if he is a bit of a naughty boy. So I look at it and think, I back Val, and I back Val Ball. It will ultimately be not necessarily the answer to our promotion prayers, because we knew this was always going to be a long-term project. But if there is one player who is come in and could be that kind of final missing piece of the jigsaw to maybe give us a good chance of a playoff push, then this is Emmanuel Dennis. This is a high kind of highbrow, high profile signing on loan. It's a low risk signing, so if it doesn't work out and he is throwing his toys out the pram and he does upset the apple cart, then okay, it was only on loan and therefore he can kind of part ways. But the player we had in that 21-22 season was dynamite, was scoring goals, and that was in the Premier League, and this is a step down from that in the Championship. So he's taken a 70% pay cut as well, which maybe that's a nod towards why Val thought maybe Dennis does want to be here, and he has changed his attitude. I just want to see a Watford side that score goals, and we haven't done it enough this season. Although Mileta Rajovic has been very, very good, he's quite a one-dimensional striker. He needs deliveries into the box. And I think Emmanuel Dennis has got the flexibility to play on the left, on the wing, or through the middle. It might be that he plays through the middle, Emmanuel Dennis, and, running at Championship defences, that is a really exciting prospect. So it's a low-risk signing, and ultimately, I'm excited by it. It's got me giddy, but let's just hope it goes well. Now, whether he'll be fit to play, I don't think he will today, because he's obviously not been playing regularly and he's got a lack of match fitness, and it would be unwise to throw him straight in. If we want him for the run-in and give us a realistic chance of pushing for those playoffs, then we need to keep him not necessarily in cotton wool, but just be wary about, you know, overusing him too much. But we've got options. We've got Asprilla, we've got Martins, we've got Sema when he's, you know, now he's back fit. So a lot of options to play with, and be interesting to see who we start today in the FA Cup against Southampton. I don't think it will be a weak side, but I also don't think it will be, you know, throwing all our eggs into it, because we have to think about Sheffield Wednesday as well on Wednesday. That is going to be an important game for us to kind of deal with. So Southampton won't be easy. You know, they've got a lot of threats. Adam Armstrong, Russell Martin's a good manager. You know, the likes of Nathan Teller obviously did really well last season. And obviously in goal, Bazunu didn't have a good one against us in the league when Reece Healey got his one goal at Vicarage Road. He also scored against Blackburn, but it's a good decision to let Reece Healey go, because I'm glad how transparent the club were about letting him go, and he's gone to Huddersfield now. And the same thing for Loser, you know, it was the right decision. So that is definitely an upgrade, Emmanuel Dennis, and I think, you know, Dennis could do really well, but let's just ease him in. And let's hope that we can get through to the 5th round, because Southampton won't be easy. But come on, a bit of momentum for the league, I think, is always a good thing. If not, we can focus on that playoff push. What do I think the score's going to be today? I'm going to say nervy Watford win, because that's just what we do. We never do things easily. And I'll say Watford 1, Southampton 0, with the only goal scorer, Mr. Ismail Kone. But what are your score predictions for the game today?
I think 1-0 as well, actually.
Yeah, it feels that sort of game.
Rajovic to score.
Yeah, Mileta Rajovic. Rewind. When the crowd cheer, goal. Mileta. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But come on, you Horns, and let's see who we get in the draw provisionally if we can get through this Southampton game for the 5th round. Another home game would be nice, obviously home advantage and all that, but let's just not get like a Maidstone United after they managed to knock out Ipswich. That would be a bit awkward. But we'll see you for the full-time review. Come on, you Horns. Up for the cup. Let's do this, Hornets. Dennis back on the bench, baby. Let's get into that 5th round, boys. It's half time at Vicarage Road, and it's Watford 1, Southampton 0. So far, so good. What a free kick from Matheus Martins. Wonderful. I mean, there was one man in the wall for Southampton, but a fabulous free kick, because he just finds a gap at the goalkeeper's near post. A wonderful free kick. And it's our first goal from a free kick for 477 days. Finally. We played really well. It's great to see Dennis back on the bench, back in Watford, yellow colours, but so far so good. So we've been the better side, we've deserved our half-time lead. They've had a couple of good chances, Southampton. There was a good header chance, but outside of that we've been dominant. Bayo has played quite well, but it's been so far so good. Come on, you all. Come on, Georgie, put it into the mixer. Okay, maybe not. King Ken! Come on, Ken! He's just Ken. None of this short corner business, just get it in. Go on, cheeky little Wesley Hoot goal against his old team, that would be nice. Oh. Go on.
Oh, unlucky. It was nearly a second for Martins via deflection. Come on, unlucky. Keep pushing Watford.
And coming on, a big welcome back to number 25, Emmanuel Dennis.
He was bursting to get on. He came on before Tom Ince.
He's replaced by number 7, Tom Ince.
I thought he was still to come on, but he'd come on before Ince. He's that bursting to play for Hornets. Come on, Dennis. Get away! Go on, get it away. Get it away, Dennis. Dennis, what are you doing? Don't flick it around there. Get it away! Get it away! Go on, let's go! Who's helping? Who's helping? What did you expect? What did you expect, Georgie? Just run into the middle. You're going to get tackled. Go on! Well done! Well done, Andrews! Oh, it's a bit too fancy there. It's a bit too fancy. I like the idea though, Bio.
Let us know when you start playing, Tom. Let us know, mate. Won't be tonight.
There he is, Emmanuel. You little legend. You couldn't have just held out, Watford, please. Goal from Stuart Armstrong off the bench. Looks like it's going to a replay if we can hold on. Really gutting. The quadruple substitution for Southampton has done the trick. Oh no, oh no. Oh my days. It's a corner. Please don't lose it now, Watford. Please. Come on, Watford, just hold firm. Out. Oh my days. Ooh. That might have sneaked in, you know. It's a good save from Backman. Nervy stuff here, last 3 minutes. Come on, just get this away, Watford. Get it out of danger. Out. Go on. Go on, Bio. Go on, Dennis. Press him, Dennis. Press him, Dennis. Stop backpedaling, Dennis, come on. what you call the worst throw of all time. And we've given it... Oh, no, it is our throw. I thought he was going to say a foul throw and it's their throw, but we've got another chance, luckily. Come on, you've got to pick up the knockdowns. Dennis at least won that header. For that to be Ryan Andrews was not the one. Just was not the one. Oh, if only that had fallen to Dennis, eh? Not off fullback. We so nearly held on. We played really well in that first half. Deserved our 1-0 half-time lead. Great goal from Matheus Martins. Espria played well today. You know, it was just looked like it was going to be a win. And out of nowhere, Southampton get that goal from Armstrong. A lucky deflection from Stuart Armstrong's shot. Wrong-footed backman. I mean, that quadruple sub probably made the difference, but they didn't have a lot of chances outside of the goal. I mean, it was pretty quiet for most of that second half, but the last 10 minutes they ramped it up.
Full-time score here at Vicarage Road in the Emirates FA Cup 4th round. It's finished 1-1 Southampton 1. The FA Cup 4th round finished West Brom Huddersfield 1.
Unlucky lads.
Full time at Vicarage Road, and it finished Watford 1, Southampton 1. Another draw yet again against Southampton at Vicarage Road, and another 1-1, and frustratingly not enough from Watford to hold on and get through to the 5th round after a fairly dominant first half performance. It was also a pretty okay-ish second half performance, but had chances, didn't take them, and ultimately it cost us because the last kind of 10 minutes or so, Southampton threw the dice, played a bit of a, risky game, but they went for it because they made a quadruple sub. Both Armstrongs, Adam and Stuart, came on, Will Smallbone as well, and it was just frustrating because the last kind of stages of the game, Southampton started to get a bit more confidence. Watford getting a few kind of near misses in terms of their defending and getting a few kind of close calls, lucky breaks, and you kind of think, oh, one of these kind of let-offs going to eventually cost us, and they did. And it was an Armstrong goal kind of deflected, I think, at the end, or just kind of creeped in, and frustrating that it just came to send the goal into the Southampton away fans, and they were absolutely bouncing. Send it to a replay at St Mary's, which is not ideal. Neither side wants that in their promotion playoff push. But, it's another fixture. We're still not out of the cup, and it was a pretty, I'd say, encouraging performance, especially in that first half from the Hornets. But just a bit of an annoying one, really, that we couldn't hold on and we couldn't see that out. It started off with a first Watford home goal from a free kick since Alman Abdi in our 3-2 win back in the 15-16 season. So a long time coming to see a free kick goal at Vicarage Road after those ones from Adam Messina away at Cardiff and also Imran Loser last season away at Blackpool. But it was a fabulous free kick. You've got to say, Joe Lumley having a bit of a stinker because at the near post he didn't really cover himself in glory, but it was really genius invention from Matheus Martins
to see that gap. The one man in the wall didn't exactly help things for the Saints, but a wonderful piece of skill from Matheus Martins, and good to see him back in the goals. If he can take all free kicks like that, then we'll keep him on set piece free kick duty. But also some better deliveries from corners from Chakfadadze today. I mean, he obviously had his customary, near post one where he can't get past the first man, but there was a couple better ones, so at least that's an improvement on the usual. But also some interesting performances in there. I thought Pollock played really well for Watford. Great to see him in a Watford shirt again, because he's not had a lot of chances and ultimately likely will leave at some point. But he was given this one. We thought he would be playing in midfield, but instead he moved back into the kind of back line, and we saw Sierra have to step out into that 6th position that he did at the start of the season. So yeah, I thought it was okay. And Wesley Hoot alongside Pollock was pretty solid, put in a lot of challenges, and obviously throughout the game, as his former side, Wesley got a lot of kind of abuse from the Southampton fans, but I thought he put in a really solid performance today. And so yeah, quite a good first half performance. Obviously there was not too many chances. It felt like clear-cut chances. There was in the first half, of course, that moment where Watford break really well and managed to get around the keeper. Lumley was quite bold to come out and try and nip it off the toe of us, but at the end of the day we couldn't get the ball back in time to have a shot with the keeper out. And yeah, the substitute made the difference. Stuart Armstrong, frustrating to concede 89th minute, and as I say, when you see that quadruple sub for Southampton, we made a few subs as well, bringing on the likes of Morris, bringing on the likes of Ken Sema. Great to see him back today. And also Ince and Emmanuel Dennis made his return in a Watford shirt, and it wasn't exactly for very long, right at the end, and yeah, he didn't really get many touches, just didn't look the most fit, to be honest. So I don't know whether it was worth that. It was good to see him, of course, back in the kind of action, but I wonder, we probably should have just left it for another game, maybe kept him fit for Sheffield Wednesday, because he didn't look match fit. But hopefully now, with a few days until Sheffield Wednesday, we can get Dennis ready and firing. But look, could we have brought on Livermore? Could we have brought on Rajovic at 1-0? Probably should have done, because I felt that Morris coming on, look, he came on for Lewis, seemed a bit like for like, not necessarily essential that substitution had to happen. But I think Sema on for the end of that game was a good call, because Sema looked like he had energy, he wanted to give a lot, just didn't quite get in the places we want him to get, in the kind of full back position, up against a full back, playing as left wing, up at, get to the byline, but didn't quite happen for Sema. And so yeah, Ince came on again, didn't quite happen for him when he came on. So yeah, frustrating stuff really. Kone obviously came off with an injury. Let's hope that's not too serious, because he absolutely ran his socks off today, as did Asprilla, who got subbed off. And we also saw Martins get subbed off again. Wonderful goal. But I've got to say, yeah, it looked like it would be enough, that Martins goal. It's just a frustrating thing to see the Scotland international Armstrong, 89th minute. You think, those substitutions see out the game. We brought on Porteous quite late on as well to try and see it out, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to hold on. I mean, look, Southampton we knew was going to be a tough game today, and going into it I thought there was a real possibility we'd lose today. So a replay at St Mary's, it's not the end of the world. It is another fixture, but we're still in the cup. However, we have got Liverpool at Anfield if we win that Southampton game, so kind of not the most ideal situation. If we'd have got a better draw in the 5th round, that would have been great, but it is what it is. We go to St Mary's on the kind of period of the 5th to the 8th of February, and I just think Southampton, they're not an easy team to play against, and they could have got a couple more goals today, because they had a few chances where you think, oh, that's a real let-off, a headed chance. There was a chance heading in the first half where he, was a free header and it was straight over the bar, but also a headed opportunity that was fortunately straight at Backman. Backman made a really, really good save towards the end. I think that was at 1-1.
and he just like tipped it around the post, kind of a header right at the end. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, I'm quite pleased with the overall performance from Watford, but it's frustrating we didn't, cash in on when we were 1-0 and didn't quite have the fluidity in the attack to find that second goal. But they arrived at Vicarage Road, Southampton, unbeaten in 21 games, so they're a tough team to beat. And so yeah, they didn't quite look as good as they usually are in the first half. Maybe that was the amount of changes that Southampton ended up making. And I think we definitely made the better chances, but we just couldn't put that game to bed. And that free kick was a really good moment in the game. Very happy for Martins, but it was just not a great performance from Southampton. So if we'd have capitalised on that kind of slightly disjointed Southampton team, they did obviously go close with that Alcaraz header, from the free kick, and then the game kind of did start getting quite slow at point in the second half. It wasn't really that much of intensity at times, but that chance for Bio really to fire wide, that was a good opportunity before the break. But we didn't rest on our laurels in the second half. We definitely had to put in all hands to the pump from a defensive point of view, but also they had chances, Watford, to see it out and get the result, because Stevens clearing off the line, I thought that was unfortunate from Watford's perspective. Sekou Mara had a quite tame effort. I was really gutted towards the end when Andrews was racing in on goal. If only that had been Emmanuel Dennis or someone like Esprit, if he'd have still been on the pitch, because it wasn't really the moment for Andrews to win that. He just had a really tame effort. But look, it was just a lack of cutting edge in the end, and I'm quite pleased about the intensity in the first half. It's just a shame we didn't, ultimately make Southampton work for it more in the first half and get a couple more goals. But at the end of the day, Martins, he hit the post. That was unlucky. That deflection, we thought that from our end it was going in. I think it hit the defender, but it looked like Lumley was beaten. And then look, Bachmann was forced into that great save from the Holgate. Strong effort. It was a wonderful strike from distance and a bit of a kind of scary save for Bachmann to make, but he did make it well. So look, it's one of those games. I think Hoot did say it was a good performance in general. We had a few changes, they had a few changes, but quite a strong side for us generally. And I think we should have just put more goals and put Southampton to the sword in the first half. But it is what it is. Tough to take to concede that late. But I think a draw is maybe a fair result. You look at the stats, Southampton had a lot more of the ball. We had, some good chances. They had a lot of shots as well. It is what it is. We'll hopefully go into that Southampton game and win the game, but it's not going to be easy. If we end up going out, hey-ho, we don't have to play Liverpool, which is always a blessing. But, it's a dress rehearsal for our game at St Mary's in the Championship later on in the season. And so, we go into Sheffield Wednesday on Wednesday night, which is quite apt, really. But we'll have to see. Who does Valerian Ismail start on Wednesday? Is it Bio, who I thought played quite well today in his link-up? Obviously got kind of lost his pizzazz towards the end and wasn't as effective, but not bad at the start of the game. Rajovic didn't ever come on, which I was quite surprised by. He's our top scorer for a reason, but you never know. He might start on Wednesday. And we've also got Dennis, who, look, at the end of the day, Dennis didn't look fit out there, and he struggled at times, it has to be said, but still, not the end of the world. We've got options now, and it's good to see that. So in terms of Bachmann, I thought he played quite well. Playing out from the back is always scary when we're passing along the line, but made a couple of crucial saves, to be fair. Don't think he could have done much really about the Armstrong one. It was just a bit of a weird one. It sneaked in. Andrews, I thought, was quite good. Pollock and Wesley Hoot, we've talked about, good centre-back pairing, because it's not often they've played together, but they looked impressive. Lewis was also very strong, I thought, unlucky to get subbed early. Sierralta, okay. Midfield, not always his best role, but not too bad in the end. Martin's obviously got the goal. I think he's got to be man of the match, really, with that goal. Played well most of the game and unlucky to get subbed off. Kone ran his socks off, I've got to say, so hope that injury's not too serious. Shakfadadze the same, you know, he covers so much ground, Shakfadadze, and I thought he was really determined today. Spria was unlucky to not get more attacking returns because he was dangerous as Spria all game today and subbed off early. Bio as well, it was one of those things, you know, Shakfadadze, I was kind of glad he didn't get, you know, another silly booking, because that kind of booking to you know, get that yellow card was a shame. So yeah, look, Morris, Dennis, Ince, Porteous, Sema, they all came on, but not a lot of impact. We go into Sheffield Wednesday. Come on, you Warns. Let's hope we can start to build some momentum in the league and build towards some sort of playoff push. You Warns!